What if the darkest day in all of human history was actually the greatest act of love the universe has ever witnessed? 3 days. That's all it took to change everything, for every human being who has ever lived, including you. Today, we step inside the most pivotal 72 hours in the history of the entire cosmos. Not a legend, not a myth, a real man, real nails, real blood, real death, and then something that defied every law of nature. This is the story of Jesus of Nazareth. And by the time this video ends, you will understand why his death was not a tragedy. It was a deliberate, divine rescue mission for you. It is Thursday night. The city of Jerusalem sleeps. But in a garden called Gethsemane, one man cannot sleep. Luke 22 verse 44 says that in this moment, his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. That is a documented medical condition, hematidrosis, caused by extreme psychological anguish. He prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Matthew 26 verse 39. Think about that. The Son of God, trembling, not from weakness, but because he fully understood what was coming. Have you ever been there? Staring into something so terrifying that your whole body shook? A diagnosis, a broken marriage, a loss you didn't see coming. That garden is your 3 a.m. moment. And Jesus was already in it, before you. And then, torches, soldiers, priests, temple guards, and walking ahead of them, one of Jesus's own 12 disciples, Judas Iscariot, for 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. He kissed Jesus on the cheek, a kiss that became the most infamous act of betrayal in history. Jesus did not resist. He did not call the 12 legions of angels he said he could summon, Matthew 26 verse 53. He chose this. Every step toward the cross was deliberate. He stood before the high priest Caiaphas, then before Pilate, then before Herod. 3 trials, all of them rigged. The verdict was decided before the first word was spoken. They stripped him. They flogged him with a whip embedded with bone and metal. They pressed a crown of thorns into his skull. And then they mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews." Isaiah 53 verse 7 said it centuries before it happened. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb led to slaughter, he endured it. For you, he had been awake all night, beaten for hours. And now, they made him carry the instrument of his own execution. Through the streets of the city he had wept over. He fell, the Son of God, on his knees, in the dirt, not because he was weak, but because he had taken the weight of every sin ever committed, onto one human body. Some of you watching this right now feel exactly like that. Fallen, carrying something so heavy you can barely breathe. The weight of grief, of guilt, of failure. Stay with this story, because the road doesn't end in the dirt. It was 9 in the morning, the hour of sacrifice, when they nailed him to the cross. The same hour the Passover lambs were being slaughtered in the temple. That was not a coincidence. John 19 verse 18, there they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side. Above his head, a sign written in 3 languages. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And then, something happened that no meteorologist can explain. At noon, darkness covered the entire land. For 3 hours. Not a storm, not an eclipse. The heavens themselves went into mourning. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." My God, why have you forsaken me? Matthew 27 verse 46. In that moment, Jesus bore the full weight of divine judgment for sin. He was not just dying physically. He was experiencing spiritual separation from the Father, so that you and I never have to. Then, his final words. Words that were not a cry of defeat. They were a declaration of completion. It is finished. John 19 verse 30. The moment he died, the temple curtain tore in two, from top to bottom. That curtain was 60 feet tall and 4 inches thick. No human hands tore it. God tore it, because the barrier between man and God was gone forever. Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy member of the council, asked Pilate for the body. He wrapped it in clean linen and laid it in his own brand new tomb. Prophecy fulfilled, he was assigned a grave with the rich in his death. Isaiah 53 verse 9. A massive stone was rolled over the entrance. Roman soldiers were posted as guards. The religious leaders sealed it with the official Roman seal. Every earthly power made sure he stayed dead. Saturday, the Sabbath. The disciples scattered, hiding in locked rooms, terrified. The women wept. All hope appeared to be dead. Imagine that Saturday. No word from heaven. No sign. Nothing. Just a sealed tomb and a shattered dream. Some of you know that Saturday. That space between the prayer you prayed and the answer that hasn't come. That silence between the promise God gave you and the evidence you're waiting for. Hold on. Sunday is coming. It was before dawn on Sunday morning, the first day of the week. The guards stood watch over a dead man. They had no idea what was about to happen. Matthew 28 verse 2. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. The guards, hardened Roman soldiers who had seen war, shook with fear and became like dead men. The tomb was empty, not broken into, not robbed. The burial cloths were still there, lying exactly as they had been wrapped, undisturbed, because he didn't need the door open to get out. Mary Magdalene came to the tomb while it was still dark. She saw the stone rolled away, and she ran, not yet with joy, but with terror and confusion. Through her tears, she saw a man she thought was the gardener. She said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him." And then, he said one word, just one word, that changed her entire world forever. Mary. John 20 verse 16. That's all he said. Her name. And she knew. He was alive. Death had been defeated. The grave could not hold him. The stone could not contain him. The Roman Empire could not stop him. He is risen, just as he said. Matthew 28 verse 6. Now here's what this story means. Not just historically, personally, for you, right now. The cross was not a tragedy that God recovered from. It was the plan from before the foundation of the world. Revelation 13 verse 8. Romans 5 verse 8 says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Not after you cleaned up your life. Not after you stopped failing. While you were still a mess, he came for you. Think about the worst thing anyone has ever said about you. The moments you've been rejected, betrayed, dismissed. Jesus experienced all of it, and then some. And he did it knowing exactly who you would be. He chose you anyway. Some of you are paralyzed by guilt. You think what you've done is too far gone for grace. But the same God who tore a 60-foot curtain in two to get access to you is not stopped by your worst day. And for anyone facing their own mortality, any diagnosis, any prognosis, any fear of what comes after, here is the answer to every question death asks. A man walked into a sealed tomb on Friday and walked out on Sunday under his own power. Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live." John 11 verse 25. This isn't poetry. This is a promise made by the only person in history who proved he has power over death. So let me ask you directly, what will you do with this? With the cross? With the empty tomb? With the name that Mary heard through her tears? The resurrection is not just a historical event you know about. It is an invitation. Romans 10 verse 9 says, "If you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." That's it. That's the door. Whether you're watching this for the first time or the 100th, today is the day to let the resurrection become personal. Not just history you admire, a living reality you walk in. Before we close, I want to pray with you. Wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, this prayer is for you. If you prayed that prayer for the first time today, welcome to the family. Leave a comment below that says, "I have risen," and I will personally reply to every single one. If this video stirred something in you, share it with one person who needs hope right now. One share could be someone's turning point. Subscribe to Hopeful Steps, because every week we go deeper into the stories that change everything.